What is up? YouTube, how y'all doing? Check this out, man. TD Jakes drops bombshell evidence against Diddy in court. Man, TD Jakes wasn't in the court. I'm over here on Nancy big time, and I am on here with Tisha Tales, and neither one of them said anything about TD Jakes in court. But somebody sent me this one, and I'm going to show my respects to them and everything and go ahead and do it. But check this out, man. Y'all know Tyler Perry. I can say Perry Tyler. Perry Tyler. Yeah, we might as well call him Perry Tyler. From now on, I'm going to call him Perry Tyler because he done flipped the script on us, man. So since you flipping, I'm flipping your name. Check it out, man. He got a court case on him about some sugar britches type stuff, man. He tripping me out, man. Now, y'all know he done laid hands on TD Jakes at his church. Yeah, real talk. I'm trying to tell you, man, birds of a feather flock together. We all know that. Hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Check this bad boy out. Here we go. Let's check it out.
Diddy forced me to make a sacrifice when I went to his birthday party. Since then, I stopped meeting Diddy. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Tyler Perry are all in this together, and they are the worst people.
TD Jakes was hanging out at a rapper and twerking party. What? That Puff Daddy held. He's sitting right
at a rapper and twerking party. It's a rapper. It's called a twerk. We need to have a twerking party. Oh, come on, baby.
Together, and they are the worst people.
TD Jakes was hanging out at a rapper and twerking party. What? That Puff Daddy held. He's sitting right there. Oh, TD Snakes.
Two more people came out lately with allegations that have the potential to completely change the perception of one of the most well-known pastors in America.
Man,
based on his sermons, best-selling books, and Hollywood connections, Bishop TD Jakes has spent decades creating a media empire. However, his name is suddenly appearing in unexpected places, such as in the center of accusations and crazy party reports that are connected to Diddy himself. TD Jakes advocated morality, family values, and righteousness for many years. Critics claim that something didn't feel quite right behind the pulpit. The mask may finally be coming off now that a former mentee has accused him of grooming. Video of his son's scandal has leaked, and online detectives are looking into his claimed attendance at some unsettling events. What is actually happening with TD Jakes, then? Is this the start of a much larger storm, or is it just hateful backlash? Let's dissect it.
The Lord said that Bishop TD Jakes will have one of the biggest scandals of all time in the Christian church, one of the biggest shaming falls before God finally judges him.
World-renowned Dallas pastor TD Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop.
For Diddy, he was using TD Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time.
TD Jakes is who? Bishop TD Jakes is not your average preacher with a church on the corner. Let's be clear. He is a media tycoon who holds a movie script in one hand and a Bible in the other. This man moves like a spiritual CEO, really. He started from scratch when constructing the Potter's House in Dallas, and it's a full-fledged production, not just a church. We're talking about weekly broadcasts, conferences with celebrities in the front row, thousands of members, and a sermon delivery that could compete with any TED Talk. For years, Jakes has maintained a close relationship with Hollywood. Bishop Jakes is a spiritual warrior, according to a quote from Oprah herself. And as we all know, you're in gold when Oprah gives you her endorsement. He frequently appears on television as well, from entire interviews on The Oprah Winfrey Show to cameos on Dr. Phil. He has reached millions of people through the media. In 2016, he even hosted the TD Jakes program, a daytime chat program that ran for a season. He covered a wide range of topics, including forgiveness, celebrity rumors, and mixed families, So it wasn't your usual preaching hour either. He was joking with Tyrese one moment and counseling a single mother the next. It resembled Dr. Phil, but with more scripture and nicer suits. People now raise their heads when someone this well-dressed is brought up in the same sentence as Diddy Jakes' purported party scene. Because TD Jakes isn't just lecturing. He is the choir. His famous quotes include, "If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion," and "Destiny is not for the comfort zone." The one who sells out arenas for sermons is this one. So how does that ambience mesh with Bad Boy's notorious nightlife, bottle service, and backing dancers? It becomes messy at that point. Several internet critics claim that Jakes wasn't always only preaching and praying. For years, there have been rumors that he used to go to some of the sexy industry events that Sean Diddy combs through.
Jakes used to come to my parties. TD Jakes also gave me young boys from church for sacrifice.
Sean Diddy Combs' and racketeering trial is dominating headlines right now.
Developing story that we're following now. Bishop TD Jakes, the leader of Dallas megachurch, the Potter's House, announced today that he will be stepping down.
How do you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication.
Now, we also know that TD Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom, and he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning workers, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as workers.
Yeah.
Like is that a thing where there's a website? This is wild here.
Is there a website?
You never heard of Grindr?
These days.
Wow, my man says, is there a website or something? Man, here we go, y'all. You ever heard of Grindr?
Is that a thing where there's a website? This is wild to hear mention.
You never heard of Grindr?
These days, numerous lawsuits and internet exposés are tearing apart the same parties. According to some, Jakes was merely attempting to shine a light in a dimly lit space. Some believe that he might have felt a bit too at ease under that shadow. Although there isn't any concrete proof that Jakes engaged in any dubious activities, his presence in such groups has sparked suspicions, particularly in light of Diddy's current legal troubles. Sometimes your associations will mess up your assignment, Jakes once remarked in a sermon. It's ironic given the present discussion. Ultimately, TD Jakes' reputation was based on spiritual leadership, empowerment, and dispelling generational curses, not on throwing lavish parties complete with surveillance-proof phones and champagne fountains. The internet, however, never forgets. People are now wondering if the bishop was merely using networking as a means of outreach, or did he stand too near the flames? In any case, the focus is changing. Furthermore, the association with Diddy's party scene is not only unexpected, but downright perplexing for someone who has always meticulously maintained his image.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making, man, he making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If, you know, they probably got a little bit more freakier, you know, as time went on, you know, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, you know, where people used to go to, you know, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, you know. So, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other, that's just crazy.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, you know, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or what we told us happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he needs to see it for himself, man. Maybe he needs to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties. Or maybe he just going to, man, it's hard to even talk about. Why would you find a religious man, you know, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners? And why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties. It's hard, brother. Bruh, you know, you can't, I really don't know why, as a spiritual advisor to him, that they buddy while he got a party with him like that and be at his parties. It's got to be, maybe it's something more that meets the eye.
Charges made against TD Jakes, the heat really starts to build at this point. Not in a nebulous, he might have heard about them manner. Two people have come forward and linked TD Jakes' name to Diddy's notorious parties. No, they simply stated that he was present. The first is Larry Reid, who maintains ties to the entertainment and gospel industries despite being a contentious character himself. Larry didn't hold anything back during a broadcast. He claimed to know people who had seen Jakes at Diddy's events, but not the ones that take place on the red carpet. We're talking about the kind of parties where no one is singing gospel hymns, contracts are signed to keep people silent, and cameras disappear. Unless they're being ironic. Next up was Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal. In one of his recent interviews, he outright claimed that TD Jakes used to attend those gatherings. He has been airing out a lot lately. Not allegedly, not perhaps. Boom, there you have it. Identified and asserted. Now, this man was stationed at the entrance, recording each well-known visitor as they entered.
None of the people who are his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, yo, bro, can you imagine he had every room taped and bugged? And they found little bugs and little tape recorders. I mean, little those micro
projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man, all kind of crazy shit. Bruh, they just wondering who or when they're gonna let this stuff be known, if it's on videotape.
He is the only one who would be aware of who was mixing with whom. Now, is it illegal to attend a party? No. But when one of America's most well-known preachers who advises people to abstain from immorality and live a moral life is associated with groups that are currently being investigated for suspected wrongdoing, yes, that makes people wonder. While all of this is going on, it's important to remember that T.D. Jakes has already been involved in a major scandal, and it came directly from his own family this time. The German Jakes incident of 2009, German Jakes, his son, grabbed headlines in 2009 for all the wrong reasons. The fee? Exposure to indecent content. The police report claims that German exposed himself and engaged in indecent behavior while being observed by undercover cops in a Dallas park. He was immediately taken into custody and subsequently set free on bond. In the end, he avoided jail time by entering a plea of no contest and paying a fine. Nevertheless, the story went viral on all media outlets. Running a huge church and media empire doesn't exactly require the kind of coverage that reads, T.D. Jakes' son arrested in public lewdness case. T.D. Jakes made the following succinct but calm declaration at the time. We believe in our son, and we love him. This is a personal issue. However, the public wasn't going to accept it so readily, particularly once it was revealed that Jermaine had used his father's address on the police documents. Whether he liked it or not, that brought the bishop squarely back into the drama. This incident served as a wake-up call for a lot of followers. Not because they were searching for perfection, but rather because the picture of a well-organized, devout home was starting to appear a little disorganized. More than 10 years later, some are revisiting the Jermaine event with the question, wait a minute, was this the first red flag we ignored? Since T.D. Jakes' name is now making the rounds in the Diddy litigation, it's crucial to keep in mind that T.D. Jakes has not been placed under arrest or faced any official charges in connection with Diddy's current predicament. However, association by itself can be harmful in this new wave of digital responsibility, particularly as receipts start to pile up. The fact that T.D. Jakes is always brought up in discussions about cover-ups, celebrity scandals, and secret parties, regardless of whether this all adds up to anything tangible, Sunday services and Woman Thou Art Loosed are very different from this. The internet hasn't yet turned on T.D. Jakes. That much is certain. They have, if anything, bookmarked it for later examination. Let's move on to T.D. Jakes' opinions on same-sex marriage, because when he spoke, he did more than just stir things up. He essentially turned the whole thing upside down. Here's the deal then. T.D. Jakes has been attempting to balance traditional church teachings with contemporary culture for years, and that balancing act has caused him to stumble in public on multiple occasions when it comes to LGBTQ+ issues. In a 2015 interview with HuffPost Live, the bishop appeared to be prepared to make a change. I think that we have to stop blaming the world for being the world and let the church be the church, he stated in response to a question concerning same-sex marriage. He went on to say that despite letting culture do as it pleases, churches should still be able to adhere to their own beliefs. That response was now equivalent to throwing a match into a room filled with pyrotechnics. Progressives were told, "He's changing. He's selling out," conservative Christians heard. What about Twitter? Twitter did what it normally does, which is to drag him up and down the timeline until he had to quickly clarify himself. A few days later, he publicly stated that the media had swayed his remarks and that his opinions were not changing. He explained to his audience, "I just meant that the world is going to do what the world is going to do. I'm not attempting to enforce cultural norms. Basically, church people, don't cancel me. I'm still with all of you. However, the harm had already been done. To be honest, this was nothing new for him. When Jakes appeared on Oprah's Next Chapter in 2012, he stated rather plainly, "I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman." However, Jakes made an effort to appear somewhat more tolerant as the culture began to change and more pastors started to reconsider their beliefs. But he didn't really alter his position. The attempt to say no offense before saying something completely offensive is analogous to this. However, Jakes has also made statements such as, "I'm not called to give my opinion. As a pastor, I am called to present the scriptural position." Cool. However, what happens if your scriptural position begins to cost you seats at brunch tables in Hollywood? He's been dancing around that tension, attempting to maintain his respectability on the red carpet and in the pulpit. This back and forth has not gone ignored, even among other pastors. He has been publicly criticized by some for being overly sensitive. He is accused by others of having a lukewarm theology. People in the church community expect you to take a side and stick with it. Not to mention that Jakes is the head of a media conglomerate. He has a movie studio, real estate, best-selling books, and even a talk show. This indicates that his audience is far larger than the Sunday crowd. Additionally, such audiences anticipate clarity, diversity, and subtlety. Instead, they receive what some critics refer to as spiritual gymnastics. He embraces cultural development one moment and then reverts to traditional theology the next. He seems to be attempting to balance his time in Hollywood with his responsibilities to the Bible, which, to be honest, seems really draining. T.D. Jakes' position on same-sex marriage is ultimately still, well, confusing. Despite his best efforts to stay within the line, he has ended up frustrating both sides in his attempt to please everyone. And that's most likely the reason his name keeps coming up in church gossip circles, think pieces, and Twitter arguments, because even for the bishop himself, there is no such thing as playing things safe when it comes to religion and practical matters. It's reasonable to say that the drama surrounding Manasseh Jordan is far from ended, as things get more serious. If you have been keeping up with the matter, you are aware that Manasseh, who is well known in Christian circles for his prophetic work, recently revealed shocking information on T.D. Jakes. Manasseh stated in a startling video that he was unable to remain silent any longer.
Whoa.
The worst part is that he's not the only one who is speaking up. Oh no, Manasseh didn't just vent his own frustrations. Going one step further, he said that 2 more victims had contacted him with their own tales. What about those tales? They are said to reflect his own encounters with the well-known bishop. He avoided going into specifics, but it's obvious that this isn't a one-off occurrence. Manasseh claims that these 2 people intend to file charges and make Jakes answerable for his deeds. What a twist in the story. This is a tremendous revelation. T.D. Jakes is a global influencer, a megachurch leader, and a dependable spiritual guide for millions of people. He is not your typical small-town preacher. He has spent decades building an empire. And for a person like Manasseh to come forward and level such charges, the entire church community and beyond is agog about that. Even more intriguing, though, is Jakes' response, or rather, his silence. The bishop has not yet responded to the accusations in any way. No tweet, not a post, not a formal declaration, and that quiet says a lot, given Jakes' tendency toward public appearances. Is he attempting to keep quiet until the situation is resolved? Or is he working on a significant answer in the background that we haven't yet seen? Manasseh, meanwhile, isn't giving up. He has actually stated unequivocally that he is not only doing this for himself, he claims he is doing it for the other victims whose voices have been silenced for too long. "I'm not doing this for revenge," he stated in his video. "I feel that people need to know the truth, which is why I'm doing this." Strong words from someone who has spent years in the public eye. But it's obvious that he is prepared for whatever happens next. The situation becomes even more severe at this point. Manasseh alluded to the fact that his assertions are supported by concrete proof, testimonies, messages, and emails. He made sure we were all aware of their existence even though he hadn't yet dropped the receipts. Everyone was left wondering what exactly he knew about TD Jakes after hearing that small piece of information. Is this simply smoke and mirrors, or will it flare up into a full-fledged legal battle? We will need to wait and find out. However, power relations are at the heart of this whole scenario, not just charges. For many years, TD Jakes has been a spiritually significant and authoritative figure. He has established relationships with leaders of state, Hollywood, and prestigious business circles. The cornerstone of his enterprise might be rocked if these accusations turn out to be accurate. It will affect more than just his ministry. It might cast serious doubt on his relationships with celebrities, brand agreements, and the public persona he has worked so hard to build. What about Manasseh? He is also on the hot seat. It's never easy to come forward with explosive claims, and he's already being dragged and analyzed online. However, he is adamant that something is greater than himself. He expressed his seriousness about this by saying, "I'm no longer afraid to speak out." Additionally, he clarified that this goes beyond past wrongs. Ensuring this doesn't happen again is the goal. What comes next then? Will attention shift to the other accused victims? Will TD Jakes say anything at last? Will this turn into a fight in court? We're not sure. However, there is no doubt that this story is far from over. And it's obvious that this drama is only getting started as the stakes and intensity increase, because the consequences of a collision between scandal, celebrity culture, and the church are never little. Now, let's take a closer look at the relationship between Diddy and TD Jakes, because this plot is always changing and not in a subtle way.
Hello there, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Week 3 of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, starting with the music mogul's former assistant, Capricorn Clark, taking the stand.
Oh, we need a 50-foot bed. I mean, TD Jakes ain't small. I'm just saying. If it's a group thing, it's a group thing. You gotta think about, you got Rick Ross, you got Khaled. We talk about heavy hitters.
How do you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he'd have to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he'd have to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt.
Why do you think TD Jakes was at Puff Daddy's birthday party?
Do you remember when Bernie Mac played the minister in Friday?
Yes.
That's how I feel about TD Jakes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Like, that's how I see. Oh, Miss Parker, come to pray. But for him to be at a Diddy party, I don't know. Like, I feel the same way about that as I feel about when Tyler Perry came to his church and laid hands on him and he caught the Holy Spirit from Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the bishop of what? Like, I've never, like, and I cut a check for $100, and I'm gonna lay my hands on you, bishop. And he said, and then it's on the internet. He's doing all of this, right? And then there's a woman on the dais screaming, "Push the baby out! Birth that baby! Push the!" I'm like, are we a church? Or is this about to turn into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut? Like, this is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be 2 reasons. Money or That's all that happens at Diddy parties. Money and I hope it was for money.
Charitable contribution.
I hope it was for money, because arguing about who's going to put the strap on is that can be a very uncomfortable situation. We're going to pray on it. Praise the Lord,
What the hell y'all talking about on this internet today? TD Jakes being exposed as a power bottom by Diddy's male escorts. What the hell is a damn power bottom? Power bottom, term for a gay man in the receiving role during gay who is aggressive and... Oh, no. Oh, so y'all trying to tell me TD Jakes is gay? Man, I don't know about this one, man. This one kind of hard to believe, man. Y'all gonna have to give me more proof. Okay, that's enough. If this is true, do y'all know how...
He said, y'all gotta give me more proof. Okay, that's enough. Yeah.
I don't know about this one, man. This one kind of hard to believe, man. Y'all gonna have to give me more proof. Okay, that's enough. If this is true, do y'all know how insane that is? I always wondered what the TD and TD Jakes stood for. But I would have never thought it stood for take TD Jakes, I know you said no weapon formed against you shall prosper, but evidently there's one that got power over. I don't know what kind of drugs Diddy be serving at them parties, but they need to ban that cause woo, y'all out here Shrek daddy. Y'all are some nasty you hear me? As a pastor, why the hell would TD Jakes be at a P. Diddy party? And what the hell would he be doing to make it look like he belonged in now?
I've been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up?
Oh my God.
Now, I ain't saying you did nothing, but your actions are mighty suspicious, Mr. Jakes. Sit your country ass down, man.
Swallow.
These two men are titans in their own right. Diddy, the socialite and music mogul who has mingled with Hollywood's elite, and TD Jakes, the spiritual titan who has amassed a fortune by influence, inspiration, and ministry. The surprising part, though, is that their paths have met multiple times despite their professional differences. First of all, the accusations against Diddy that have persisted for years cannot be disregarded. Diddy has been embroiled in scandal, some of which is still pending in court since Kim Porter's unexplained death, and lawsuits alleging abuse and misconduct. What role does TD Jakes play in this then? According to rumors, Jakes attended Diddy's notorious, well-publicized parties in more than simply a supporting role. There, among celebrities, executives, and other entertainment industry people, he was indeed a frequent guest, according to several. And those parties are legendary if you know anything about them. Exclusive, lavish. Crazy people are high on success at these kinds of parties and possibly a few other things as well. The question now is this only a harmless social overlap between two powerful people, or is the story incomplete? A few have begun to raise their eyebrows. After all, morality, self-patrol, and godly living are the cornerstones of TD Jakes' brand. Therefore, curiosity is sparked by being associated, even in a social sense, with someone like Diddy, who is accused of several things. Does Jakes' reputation as a spiritual leader suffer as a result? Many people are asking that question, because how can you be seen at extravagant celebrity events that appear to be the reverse of what you preach on Sunday about integrity, purity, and the perils of temptation? Let's not mince words. Diddy's legal issues are serious. We are discussing allegations of misconduct, harassment, and abuse, some of which are currently pending in court. People are examining Diddy's inner circle more closely as more information becomes available, as well as who may have approved of or disregarded particular actions. TD Jakes is currently in the news because of his closeness to a man at the center of several controversy, not because he has been directly accused of anything. However, that's not all. Let's discuss Christina Carorm, Diddy's long-standing collaborator who has now been mentioned in a number of lawsuits. She has been charged with contributing to Diddy's empire's shadowy business practices and financial mismanagement. Some claim she was the link that kept everything together, while others claim she contributed to the issue. Another person that has surfaced is Rodney Jones, who openly likened Christina to Jeffrey Epstein's notorious accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Although there is a striking comparison, it demonstrates the level of public scrutiny that has increased. Jones's remarks have only increased conjecture, and the drama in the courtroom might escalate if he is asked to testify. In addition, there are former co-workers, business partners, and industry insiders who might join the legal fray. People who have been silent for years frequently come forward in high-profile situations like this one. The relatives of Kim Porter might potentially be involved. One of the most eerie and contentious parts of Diddy's story is still her passing.
Yes.
Although their involvement in the current case has not been confirmed, some people think their voices may soon be heard, particularly if old questions come up again. Not to mention Diddy's past love partners and girlfriends. The most telling testimony in celebrity lawsuits frequently comes from those closest to the accused. Their remarks have the power to completely alter the course of this case if any of them decide to speak forward. So yes, there is a huge web surrounding Diddy, and it is becoming more complicated every day. Expect additional names to be revealed as the legal process progresses. Furthermore, it may be seriously questioned what circles TD Jakes is actually entering and what it means for his ministry, message, and legacy if he is still connected, if merely by association. Fan reactions are coming in hot, so let's talk about them now. Some fans don't care at all. Calm down, it's just celebrity networking, they say. They don't think Jakes is guilty of anything just because he attends the same events as Diddy. Hollywood is small, they contend, and if you're famous, you'll ultimately be seated next to a contentious person. Then again, there's the flip side. Many of Jakes' admirers, including some who have been with him for a long time, are seriously doubting his moral character. How can a man of God be so close to someone who is drowning in lawsuits and allegations, they ask? For them, this is about accountability, leadership, and appearances rather than only guilt by association. Because when your brand is based on spiritual leadership, holiness, and truth, people start to worry if you're anywhere close to controversy. What do you truly believe in? Credibility. Many of them contend that it sends a contradictory message to your audience to preach about leading a moral life while hanging out with one of Hollywood's most infamous party kings. Sayings like, "Looks like TD is going to be swallowed up in this lawsuit," or "Pastor TD Jakes allegedly had a medical emergency today during a Sunday sermon," have been all over social media. First of all, it's incredible that despite the Diddy accusations, this man is still preaching. Second of all, I'm not sure if I should purchase what transpired today. It's an intriguing moment to say the least, and some people are curious about how this connection might impact Jake's ministry, credibility, and the notion that he lives a life of moral and ethical purity form the foundation of his platform. Therefore, it could damage his reputation when his supporters are questioning his business choices. To be fair, though, Jake hasn't exactly been bashful about his relationships. He is regarded as a social figure who has collaborated with powerful individuals from a variety of industries, and perhaps, in his opinion, it's all about balancing work and play. However, since Diddy is the subject of the greatest examination, let's return to him. Even though Jake is associated with these groups, Diddy is the main focus of the courtroom. His already contentious legacy is further enhanced by his most recent cases. Supporters have been eager to point out how his opulent and mysterious lifestyle can occasionally result in personal and legal issues. Diddy's name has long been associated with scandal, whether it be through charges from former coworkers or outrageous rumors from previous relationships. And it doesn't appear that he will be slowing down anytime soon. Regarding Jake, his future may hinge on how he responds to his ties to the party scene, namely whether he chooses to address or ignore these rumors. However, people are undoubtedly watching and waiting for the next development in this intricate relationship between a party-loving mogul and a spiritual leader, regardless of how this all turns out. While fans are following and scrutinizing every action, it remains to be seen if Jake's reputation will be impacted, or if it will simply be another aspect of the Hollywood drama that people love to speak about. Everyone is asking, how far does this connection really go? Do you believe Jake's career be negatively impacted for some time by his relationship with Diddy and these accusations? Or will he be able to bounce back like so many other celebrities? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and please remember to watch these next videos that are just for you.
Wow. Man, I really think, and I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. But I really think that him falling out in the church and whatever accident he had and had to be rushed to the hospital, they never said what happened. He just got on some talk show and started saying he had a heart attack. And I don't think that's what happened. You know, so, hey, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. A lot of people saying that he had health issues, you know, and I think that it was all smoke and mirrors. But that's just my opinion. You know, everybody entitled to an opinion, but trust me, I know that nurses know. They go in, they take you and take your vital signs and put the light in your eyes. They know you faking it. You know, so hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.